Hi there, welcome back to Save with Crypto. My name is Save with Crypto. Now, about 25 minutes ago, Reuters published this press release here. It was called Trump Media Teams with Crypto.com to launch ETFs on TruthFi. Okay, well that sounds pretty good, doesn't it? That sounds like really good news, especially to CRO holders like myself. I've actually had CRO since 2020, and I've had a rose gold card since 2020. In the days when you only needed 100,000 CRO to get the rose gold Crypto.com card. I think these days you have to stake, I think it's £30,000 worth of CRO, or like $40,000 worth if you're in the States, something like that. It's quite a lot. At the time, my 100,000 CRO was worth about, I think it was about €6,000. I was in France at the time. And yeah, pretty cool. Anyway, so what's this about? The ETFs will be available through Crypto.com's broker dealer Forest Capital. Will include digital assets as well as securities with a made in America focus. Okay, that sounds good. Now, I did hear that Crypto.com are going to get into having like stock, shares, traditional finance on the app as well as like crypto, which is really good news, I think. This makes it like a really attractive app for people who just want one app on the phone to do everything. And to be honest, I use Crypto.com almost like my bank, really. It's the only card I use on a daily basis. I just put my GB pounds into there. When I lived in France, I used to do the same with euros. And I just use the card. It's all good. So it says Trump Media said it had plans to allocate these funds into various investment options, including ETFs, separately managed accounts, and cryptocurrencies. Okay, that all sounds good. And of course, as you would expect, the price of the CRO is up 22% and rising. So I'm a lot more wealthy than I was half an hour ago. So that's really good. Now, that last part of the video I made last night, which was Monday, the 24th of March 2025. Now, I knew that this was happening today, this AMA with Chris Marszalek, the boss of Crypto.com. I knew it was at a weird time because he's in Singapore. It was actually 1 p.m. Singapore time, which was about an hour ago. So I'm guessing that was about 5 a.m. UTC. Anyway, it's happened now, so I actually missed it, but obviously it's a AMA, so it's recorded, so we can watch it. Now, this is the part where Stephen, the CMO, asks Chris what the Trump thing is all about. So let's have a listen.
Okay, definitely, ETFs are a critical new flow of capital into the market. So we are very proud and thrilled to partner with Truth Social on this. As you guys know, they already have a Bitcoin ETF application. We're going to provide them with a 360 solution, including custody, liquidity provision, and everything else that is needed to operate this effectively. There's going to be also some innovation there in terms of deploying baskets that include proof of stake tokens like Kronos. And we're very excited about it. This is the first time that CRO is included in an ETF. So please look for more news on this as filings are done. And we're very, very, very excited about this partnership. It's absolutely incredible.
Well, that's brilliant, isn't it? Now, the timing of this AMA is brilliant, I must admit. I think they did it really well because CRO has been under a lot of criticism. Because Crypto.com was quite famous for doing a 70 billion token burn. And this was the biggest token burn ever in the history of everything, I think. And they did this kind of vote the other week to unburn it, to mint it again, 70 billion tokens. And the voting was a bit weird. It was looking like it wasn't going to happen, and then all of a sudden it did. And there's a bit of controversy about that. But he didn't exactly talk about that in his answer. He did begin by stating the difference between Crypto.com and CRO.
Kronos and Crypto.com have been run separately for years, separate governance, separate entities. But where we are aligned is the mission and the vision, the cryptocurrency in every wallet. And where we are aligned is that we want to make CRO great again. So when I look at the original token burn from Q1 2021, I view this as a defensive move. At that point in time, it made a lot of sense. Now we've got strong support from the new administration. The war on crypto is over. We have extremely strong tailwinds for the whole industry. And there is need for an aggressive investment to win. I'm always very supportive of thinking big, being bold. We've run an entire global campaign with the tagline FFTB. So I believe that not making big moves is akin to accepting being somewhere in the middle of the pack. I don't think this is what the community wants. It's like thinking in cents when we should be thinking in dollars. So you guys have to understand that Crypto.com reinvested billions of dollars to build a globally recognizable, trusted brand. And likewise, Kronos will have to invest billions to build a top 5 chain. So I think that on balance, this path has the highest likelihood of success that benefits all token holders. So, what we actually want to do what are the things that will make CRO great again? I think number one on the list is ETFs. And, there was this announcement that came out this morning from Truth Social. And I think everybody needs to understand that this is the first of many. Our ambition is to have every single ETF issuer carry CRO, and in some cases it's going to be part of a single issue ETFs. In some cases it's going to be a part of the basket. But this is a very critical flow. Again, the market structure has changed. This is what will provide inflows into the ecosystem, and all the builders that build on going to benefit from it tremendously. I also want to address one issue that I think is not really deeply understood in the community, is that whenever we seed an ETF, this does not create a natural seller. It's akin to a loan where the ETF issuer is not the holder of the coin and is not a natural seller. So the impact on the sell side is none. So this needs to be understood. And I think if you look at the action following the announcement, I don't think anybody saw any material selling in the market. So keep it in mind, ETFs are a huge net positive for the ecosystem. It's not easy to get it done, but we will get it done for all major issuers. The second thing that I think is critical to make CRO great again is to make sure that we are being in consideration for strategic reserves or digital assets stockpiles of sovereign states. And again, the level of difficulty here is even higher than in the case of ETFs, but I think we are exceptionally well positioned to make this a reality if opportunity arises. The third thing, which I think is extremely difficult to do, but it's also one of the most important things, is to bring strong founder teams to Kronos.
Okay, so his first 3 points are all quite valid, I think, actually. I mean, obviously the ETF is the big one, but he has mentioned in the past week or so this idea about bringing more people on board and just generally expanding everything, which is the reason they want the extra tokens. You have to bear in mind that Crypto.com make money. They make lots of money, so it's not like they have to sort of raise money because they're clutching at straws and just trying to pull themselves out of the shit. That's not the case here. Let's have a listen to the fourth point.
And the fourth thing on the to-do list is bringing on institutional investors to Kronos. I think at this moment it's mostly retail who is holding it, and you've seen it in terms of the votes. I think the total percentage of votes voting no was about almost 5%. But if you look at the USD value of it, it was about $100 million. So we need to bring in institutional investors into the fold.
Okay, well, institutional investors, obviously that's what you want to make something really big, isn't it? Now, obviously, the idea of minting 70 billion tokens is really controversial, but I did like the way Chris ended his reply on this, and I've not seen anyone else in crypto ever do this, so this is good.
I think this is the gist of my views on this somewhat controversial proposal. I would also like to believe that if you look at this long term, even the people who voted against it, after a couple of quarters or maybe a year or maybe 2 years, they will look back at this point and will agree that this was actually done in the best interest of the community and everybody benefited. And I suggest you guys just look at the calendar today. We've got 25th of March, set a reminder for 25th next year and hold me to account if results are not delivered.
I think that's really good. I don't know anyone else who's ever sort of put themselves on the line like that. I think that's brilliant. I'm going to set a reminder for the 25th of March 2026. Are you? Now, of course, I was delighted this morning to sort of turn my phone on and see all these notifications from crypto.com, and the price has been up like 40% since last night. It's down a little bit now, still 30 odd percent though, but that is just this little green candle here on the weekly chart. So zooming back, the price back in 2021 when everything was at its peak was 93 cents. We're currently at 10 cents, so there's a long way to go. In the AMA, Chris did say they're aiming for crypto.com to be a top 5 coin. Now, is that a reasonable thing to say? Yeah, I think so, because at the moment it's got a 2.8 billion market cap and Kronos CRO is at number 37. And if you look at all this other stuff in the way, stuff like Pepe, Uniswap, does anyone use that anymore? Avalanche is all over the place. It is feasible. It could get up to number 5, which is where BNB is at the moment, with a market cap of 91 billion. So for CRO to get where BNB is, that would require the CRO price to be over $3. Do you think that's feasible? I do, actually. It might take a while, but I think it's feasible. Anyway, Chris Marszalek, maybe not the most interesting guy to listen to, but I do like what he says. And he does talk about things on a really large scale and seems to carry them out, which is sometimes unusual in this space. The thing for me is crypto.com is a service that I've used every single day since 2020, since I properly got into crypto. And I use the card every day. I used to use the exchange, but I then realised it's not actually that good. But I do use the card every day, and every time I buy something, I get rewards of 3% in CRO. I don't sell the CRO; I stake it. I stake it every week, and I've got a nice little pile of CRO there. I've also got the CRO that I've staked to get the card, and that earns 7% interest as well. So Crypto.com is a company that I'm actually into. I know it's not ideal. I know it's kind of a bit centralized, as they've kind of proved with this voting thing, maybe, I think. The fact that it's something that I use every day certainly proves something to me. In fact, there's only a few things that I use every single day that I've been using for years. These probably include some exchanges like ByBit, Swissborg, and Crypto.com. I'm very optimistic about the future. I'd love to know what you think, and I'd love to know if you think that CRO could ever be $3 or even $1. Let me know in the comments down below, and while you're down there, please do give the video a big fat like, make sure you are subscribed, and above all, tell your friends.
Save with Crypto has to be one of the best YouTube channels that the United States has ever seen. Kamala Harris is not a subscriber, but I am. I have notifications set to all as well. I'd strongly suggest you subscribe to Save with Crypto today. Above all, you should tell your friends.
Save with Crypto is not a financial advisor. He just makes ice cream on the internet. If you cannot find someone to do your own research, you must do it yourself, just like I did not.